Good morning and welcome to what is the sixth lesson in making this Hedgehog Conservation Game in Scratch. You'll notice it's called Lesson 5B, and that's because last week, Lesson 5A, you could have stopped there and you don't have to continue to this 5B one. This is an alternative route that you could take, but I'm glad to see you've joined us and hope you'll enjoy it. We're going to add some more gardens to our game in Scratch so that the hedgehog can move from one garden to the next. So let's go over to our Scratch page and have a look at that. Here we are on Scratch again then. So it's scratch.mit.edu. Make sure you're logged in and then find your game. Here's my one, Hedgehog Fun. That's it. So have a look inside and you'll see the code. Now today's lesson might be slightly confusing sometimes. There is a bit of things to get your head around. So if you're confused at all, remember our website, which is earthgames.uk. And here, if you go to Learn and Online Resources, you can get the tutorials on there for the lesson as well. So it's got it written down step by step with screenshots of all the code, so that if you get a bit lost, you can just have a look there. So do remember that's there. I'll leave that to load while we go back to Scratch. So here's my game in Scratch. As you can see, this garden is purple all the way around the edge, and that's what we've been using. However, what we're going to do is replace the garden that we've got here with a different garden with yellow bits on the side, which hopefully you'll recognise from when you played the original game right at the beginning. You could go through into the next garden. So let's find that. We need to open another tab and go to Scratch. So we've made some more gardens for you so that you can use those like we did before. We need to go to Hedgehog, I can't spell, there we go, Hedgehog Republic, press enter. Now, not this one, remember we need the studio. There we go. And we need the game that we used before, which is called Sprites. Here it is. Because actually, as well as the worm and beetle in there, that's where we've put the other gardens for you to use. If we see inside, it's just loading. We're going to look at the gardens in here. So if you go, I'll have to show you over here because my face will be in the way otherwise. Go down to the bottom right hand corner, it says backdrops. Click on that garden, and then at the top left you need to click on the backdrops tab. There we go. You can see that there are lots of different gardens here that you didn't realise were there, did you? They're hidden away. At the moment we've got this one, Garden 1. What we need is New Garden 1. So click on this one and you can have a look. Can you see it's got the yellow gates here to go through to the next garden? Right click on New Garden 1 and select Export. Remember this downloads to your computer. So there we go. And also you can choose another garden, so either Garden 2 or Garden 3. Click on them and see which one you like. So here's Garden 2 and here's Garden 3. I'm going to go for Garden 2. Right click and select Export. There we go, that's saved to our computer. Now go back to the other tab. There we go, so this has got your game in. And we're going to upload the game in here now. I'll have to zoom in over in the corner. So here's where the backdrops are. If you hover over choose a backdrop and go to the top option, upload backdrop. There we go, it has done it. Now I've got to find them. So first we need New Garden 1. There we go, newgarden1.svg. That's the one we want. Select open. It's importing it and you'll see straight away it will change. There we go, so this is our New Garden 1 and you can see here we've got 2. The other way that you can do it is if you're in this backdrops area already, you can hover over here, choose a backdrop and go to the second from top, upload backdrop. So let's do that for the other garden then. And I chose Garden 2, so there's Garden 2 and click open. There we go. But we want it on the first garden to start with, because what the hedgehog's going to do is go through this gate into the next garden. Now remember I said about the instructions, let's go back to Earth Games website. Here we go, lesson 5B, adding more gardens. So in here it will tell us what code we need to add in case you forget. So we've got the gardens into our game, as it says here, and then we're going to add some code so that we get the right garden to appear at the right time. Let's go back to our game. So if we click on code, this is the code area for the garden. Can you see the garden at the top there? It's got the timer in here, which you will have added earlier. We're also going to add something to make sure when the game starts, it goes to this garden. Click on events first, and get when flag clicked. There we go. Now we want to add from the looks category, we've got the backdrops here. So when the game starts, we want it to switch to backdrop, and we want it to be new garden 1. There we go. So when the flag clicks, it will make sure it's on this garden. If we go into a different garden, then it will come back to this one. So that's perfect. Now let's have a look and see what else we need to do. We've done that. Now we're going to add some code to the hedgehog. This one's important to notice the colours, so we'll look at that closely. Click on the hedgehog sprite. Now we've got the hedgehog here, and we're going to add a new block of code. Let's go to the bottom. There we go. So again, we need when flag clicked. You can probably guess what we need. A forever loop, and then we do indeed need an if loop as well. So if loop inside the forever loop. Now we're going to check if the hedgehog is touching this yellow gate, and if it is touching it, we're going to swap to the next garden. From the sensing category then, we need this touching colour block. So grab that one and put it in the irregular hexagon of the if loop. But we don't want this green. Click on that green. Use this dropper at the bottom. So this is really important. And this will collect a colour from the screen. Make sure it's this bright yellow colour, which is on the right hand side of New Garden 1. Click there. There we go. So if it's touching that colour, then we want to switch to the next backdrop. Go to looks, and here we go, switch backdrop to, and put that inside the if loop. We want to switch it to New Garden 1. Let's have a look at that and see if it works then. I'm just going to take my hedgehog over there. Oh no, it hasn't worked. I'm going to have to check what I've done there. Oh no, it's New Garden 1. I should have changed it to the next one, shouldn't I? There we go, Garden 2. That makes sense. So let's start again. As long as my hedgehog's okay. That badger's pretty close, isn't it? Everyone makes mistakes. See, yep, see, we've gone through to the next garden, but can you see what over here on the right hand side? It doesn't look quite right, does it? So we need the hedgehog to appear over here. So what I want you to do is drag your hedgehog to where you want it to appear, as if it's just come through that gate. Then from the motion category, get this block, go to XY coordinates. And have a look where the hedgehog is now. So X is minus 198 and Y is 2. If you've already moved your hedgehog, this will already be those values. If not, then change the values in here. Let's try that out. So remember, you've got to try everything when you do it. Through we go. Yeah, that looks much better. Now we want the hedgehog also to be able to go back, because if the hedgehog goes here, nothing happens. We need another if loop. So go to the control category, get an if loop. There we go. And again, the sensing, we need the touching colour block. So you'll notice that this yellow is a different colour. Click on the touching colour block and get the dropper, and then get this brighter yellow. There we go. Now, if it's touching that one, it will switch back to the first garden, won't it? So from the looks category, we want switch backdrop to, and you want it to switch to New Garden 1. There we go. Unfortunately, he's got stuck behind there. Again, we need to make sure the hedgehog appears in the right place because the hedgehog would actually just stay. We need the hedgehog to appear over here again. What you can do is drag your hedgehog where you want it to appear without touching it, which is quite fiddly. And then have a look at the x and y coordinates. There we go, x is 200 and y is minus 13. And go to the motion category and get the go to XY block here. There we go. Let's click the green flag and let's try that out. So we can go through the gate, yep, and back again. Perfect. That looks really good, doesn't it? Now let's have a look at what else we need to do. So I'm using the lessons today so you can get to see them and understand what we're doing. So we've done all these switching backdrop bits, haven't we? So we're doing really well. We've gone through the gate. There we go, so we've done that. Right, as it says here, you need to play your game and see what bugs you find. So bugs are problems in the code. Let's have a go then. So I'm going to play my game. I'm going to eat some worms. There's a beetle. I'm going to grab that beetle if I can get there without the badger getting me. There we go. I'm going to go through to the next garden and see what happens. Oh, I have noticed the hog house is down there, but I think I'll go and see what's in the next garden. Okay, well the hog house is in here too, and the netting. No more beetles or anything though. So, that's a bit strange. There we go, I've made it to the hog house, but my health isn't good enough. I think the badger beat me to eating all the beetles. So let's stop my game. Did you notice then, we had a few things that were slightly odd. So if you ate everything in the first game, when you went to the second one, there was nothing left to eat. Also, the hog house appears in both gardens. Really, we want the hog house to just appear in the second one, don't we? When the person's nearly finished the game. Let's see if we can change that then. Let's look at the hog house. So click on the hog house sprite, and there's no code in here at the moment. We're going to add something from the events category. This one here for change, not when flag clicked, when backdrop switches to. So what we want to do is when the backdrop switches to garden 2, so this is garden 2, the second one, we want the hog house to show. So we want it to be there in garden 2, but at the beginning we don't want it to show. So we want when flag clicked, and from the looks category we want hide. So let's check that out then. So here we go. In this garden, there's no hog house. That looks good. Let's go through to the next garden. There we go. There's another hog house. Great. Okay. So that worked. The problem with the beetles and worms is more complicated, and we're going to look at that next week. We'll use some cloning to make that work, which you might not have encountered before. So we'll leave that little bug for now, the bug with the bugs, and we'll look at a couple of other things. So we've said about the first option and the last option. There's something else here as well. The other bug you might have spotted if you've got garden 3 as well, for definite. The gates at the bottom don't work. The hedgehog doesn't go anywhere. So this gate here, we've got a hole in the way. So I'm going to move my hole out the way because that would be a bit nasty, wouldn't it? So if the hedgehog goes down to the bottom gate, nothing happens. So we need to change that, the code for that one. So we're going to add, from the hedgehog, click on the hedgehog sprite. So this code here where we've got these colours, we're going to add another if loop in there. We get another if loop and put it at the end, so inside the forever loop and after the other 2 if loops. From the sensing category, touching colour block, and we want this colour of that gate at the bottom. So make sure you use the dropper and get that one. There we go. And if it touching that one, what's going to happen is the hedgehog's going to die, unfortunately, and we're going to switch to one of the other backdrops. So what I need you to do now is open another tab or window and go to the sprites game. I've still got it open, I didn't close it earlier. If you did close it, pause the video and see if you can find it again. Remember, it was at the beginning of the video if you need to watch it. Scroll down these gardens, and at the bottom we've got Night City with Street. We're going to download this one. So right click and export. So okay, there we go, it's saved to my computer. I'll go back to my game. Now we need to import it. So I want to go down here, I can do it, and upload backdrop. And I need, there it is, Night City with Street.png. There we go, it's importing it. At the moment it's displaying it now. If we click the green flag though, yeah, it should go away. Lovely. Let's go to the code then and add that in. Click on the hedgehog. So if we're touching this colour, we want it to switch to that new backdrop. From the looks category, there we go, switch backdrop to Night City with Street. Let's try that out then. So if I go out this door at the bottom, there we go, I'm squashed. As you can see, it looks a bit odd though. We've still got the badger, the pond, the netting, we've still got a worm here, a deep hole, and a dead hedgehog, unfortunately. So we need to make all these things disappear when we go through that gate. That's easy with the hedgehogs. We're in the code area for the hedgehog. So from the looks category, you can get a hide block. There we go, and put that there. So when it switches to Night City with Street, we want to hide. But you must remember to add a show block at the beginning, otherwise the hedgehog will disappear, never to be seen again. There we go, that's sorted the hedgehog. Let's have a look at the shallow pond. Now, let me check my instructions. I can't remember whether we send a message for this one. Let's have a look. So we've added this if loop in, we've added that, and we've made it hide. We're doing well. And put the show in. Yeah, we're going to use this message block that we haven't used before. It's very handy though. From the events category, I think it is. Yes, there we go. We've got broadcast message. So let's go back to the hedgehog. And we want to broadcast message. So grab that one and put it in the third if loop. So where it would be if it goes through that gate. We're going to add a new message. We're going to call this hide sprites. There we go. So what we're doing is we're sending a message which says hide sprites, and that can be received by any of the sprites. Let's look at the pond then. We're going to add some code here. From the events category, we need this one, when I receive hide sprites. So when I receive hide sprites, we want it to hide, don't we? So from the looks category, we get hide. There we go. And remember, we also want to put a show block in the other code after the when flag clicked. Let's see, we'll check that out. So we've added the code for the hedgehog and the pond. There we go. See, the hedgehog's gone. There's just the sort of upside down dead hedgehog, and the pond has gone. Great, that worked well. Let's sort out the worm. So what we could do to make it easier is use this backpack again. So click on the backpack and grab this code. Ooh, I might delete these ones so I don't get confused about which code I'm using. Let's click and drag this into the backpack. There we go, that's in there now. And we'll add it to the next sprite. Mine's a worm, yours might be something different. Click and drag it into the script area. Then I've got some netting, click and drag it, and a beetle, click and drag. The hog house, yeah, I need to put it in there too. and a deep hole. So do it with all of your sprites, however many worms or beetles or anything else that you've got. You need to put it in all of them, I'm afraid. But we're nearly there. I've got 2 beetles left now. There we go. Let's test that. I'm going to go through the bottom. I'm going to try and avoid the deep hole because I don't want to die already. I've got to test the other way. Going through the gate. There we go. That looks good, doesn't it? Everything's disappeared apart from the unfortunate hedgehog. Click the green flag again and you'll see a problem. Everything has disappeared, but it's not come back again, apart from the beetles and worms. We've set them up to do so. We need to change that then. So let's have a look. The shallow pond has come back again. The worms have, but the netting hasn't. Let's have a look at the netting code. We could add something a little bit different in here from the events category. We could add when backdrop switches to garden 2, then we could make the pond appear. It's up to you. The netting appear, sorry. If you want it to appear in garden 1 or all the time, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to make it appear in garden 2. So when backdrop switches to garden 2, I want it, from the looks category, I want it to show. There we are. Let's have a look at the others then. So the beetles are fine. The hog house should come back in the second garden, so I think that's okay. The deep hole though, let's have a look. We need to add a show block. And you can just put that after the green flag at the beginning of the code. So then, yeah, there's our deep hole. Okay. The badger, also we need to add a show block. I'm going to right click and clean up blocks here. There we go. And I can see I've got this one at the top. So let me get the show and I'm going to put it in after one of the green flags clicked. Is our badger back now? There's our badger. The worms and beetles were fine, so I think that's everything. Let me check that netting code then. So I said that it should show when I go into the second garden. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's my netting. Okay. Now, you've done really well. We've added all that code to there. If you want, there's one other thing you can add. We're going to add a backdrop for winning the game. At the moment, if you win the game, if you go to the hog house, a message pops up saying you've won. What we want to do is the message pop up and then it switches to a big screen saying you've won, congratulations. Well, I'm going to get you to design that one yourself. I'll show you how, but I'm sure you're pretty good at that. Hover over the backdrops icon and click on paint. There we go. So name this backdrop something else, so like you won or winning backdrop or something like that. And yeah, draw whatever you fancy. So it could be some fireworks. If we look at the one on here, there's an example one. Here we go. So it says, congratulations, you won. So design whatever you like. I'll have a go at designing something and then speed this up so you can see what it looks like. There we go, my backdrop is finished. Let's try and make that work in our game then. Let's look at the code area for the backdrops. No, actually we need to go to the hedgehog code area. There we go, hedgehog. So we need to figure out where you win. So let's find that code. I'm just going to stop my badger driving around, it's a bit annoying. There we go, down we go, keep looking. So we're looking for the code where the hedgehog wins. Here we go. It says, congratulations, you've won. We can still say that, or you can remove it, it's up to you. And then you want to switch the backdrop. So from the looks category, get switch backdrop to U1. So that will make it change to U1 when we get there. Thing is, all the sprites like we found when we went through here would still be there. So we're going to use that message that we created earlier from the events category. Get broadcast hide sprites and put that there too. So that when we win, it switches the backdrop and hides all the sprites. Thing is, at the beginning, we want to make sure it's the backdrop that we want as well. So from the looks category, get switch backdrop to and put it after the green flag. We want it to be new garden 1. Let's try that then. Okay, so I've got to try and win my game and check that that works. Let's see. I've got to beat the hedgehog to that beetle over there. I might just cheat and go into the next garden and then see if I can get that beetle. Oh no, I missed that worm earlier. Okay. Right, that should work. I know I only need 140 in my game. So Hog House, congratulations, you've won. There we go, it worked. I might change my design a bit because I can't see those behind these variables here. Let me have a look at that. So once you've tested your game out, you might spot things like that too. Hopefully we can select this. There we go. And I'm going to move it down and move this one over here a bit. There we go. That works, doesn't it? If I click the green flag, yeah, it goes back to normal. If you noticed in that one, when I won, the hedgehog was still there. It's up to you whether you want to keep the hedgehog still there or not. If you don't, then you need to put a hide here for the hedgehog. I'm quite happy with the hedgehog staying there, to be honest, so I'm going to leave my hedgehog there. There we go. That's all that we're going to cover this week. Let me tell you about what we're going to do next week. So next week, do you remember that problem we had when we move into the second garden? If we've eaten all the beetles and worms, then no more beetles and worms appear. So we want to fix that, and we're going to use something called cloning to do that. I'll explain all about it next week, and it will be a really useful skill to you to learn in Scratch because you can make some awesome games once you know how to do it. I look forward to seeing you next week for that, but if you're still got any questions or anything about any of the lessons so far, join us at 10:30 for the live Q&A, where I'll cover some common problems with this lesson and anything else you might encounter. Do ask us any questions in the chat on here or ask us on the chat on the live stream later. See you later then, bye!